Remember NFTs? You know, those stupid JPEGs that an annoyingly vocal portion of the internet was banging on about for all of 2022, and how it was gonna revolutionize the world. And all you had to do was pay a stupid amount of Monopoly money to buy in?
Honey, would the husband you idolize and adore let you down? Don't answer that.
Yeah, pretty embarrassing, right? NFTs have been a highly publicized, though relatively niche commodity throughout most of 2021 and 2022. If you spent any time on Twitter, or X or whatever the hell it's called nowadays, and followed any artist or any other creative types, you probably witnessed some heated discourse and aggressive opinions surrounding the concept. It seems like there is no middle ground. People were either incredibly bullish on the future potential of NFTs and are going all in on the tech to get in early, or emphatically reject it, seeing it as a downfall of the modern web and creativity as a whole. People were spending and making thousands, even millions, on the sale of NFTs, to the confused bewilderment of everyone else as they watch JPEGs routinely sell for more than the average car. But then the whole market just up and died. It's funny how we went from NFTs and cryptocurrency feeling like a dystopian inevitability, with millionaire JPEG peddlers popping up every few weeks, tons of new projects being pushed by weirdos online and massive corporations alike, and being bombarded by advertisements on TV for the stuff, as celebrities tried to convince us that they were the next big thing. And all of that is essentially just poof, gone. The only real crypto stories from 2023 were the failures. From FTX collapsing, to tons of coins going to zero, to fraud and rug pulls confirmed to be the bulk of the space's activity. Barely a peep was heard anymore from the seemingly endless legion of NFT enthusiasts. The tonal shift was massive. Though, there was one particular NFT project that had risen above the rest. One that had penetrated pop culture more than any other, that for a few months seemed poised to drown us all as it slowly infected all avenues of entertainment. The Bored Ape Yacht Club. These frankly tasteless monkey illustrations at their height were selling for a minimum of 6 figures, with the most expensive one selling for a ridiculous $2.7 million. Now, it's about $100,000. It's hard to say what's more impressive, the 96 drop in valuation, or the fact that it's still even worth that much at all, considering it's just a picture. But it also invites the question, what even is the Bored Ape Yacht Club? Why did it blow up the way it did? And how did it fall apart? It's honestly kind of a paralyzing question to ask. And sifting through everything about the Bored Ape Yacht Club, it's incredible how paradoxical the story is. How there can be so much to cover, while at the same time, so little of relevance or material value that actually happened. It's a multi-year extravaganza of manipulation, theft, and pure unhinged lunacy. Now, I will try to do my best to cover the big things and give you all a general picture, but it won't be possible to go through everything, if for no other reason that my sanity couldn't take staring into this abyss for that long. It started staring back, and all I could see staring back at me was an ugly monkey JPEG. The Bored Ape Yacht Club is, as one would expect based on that introduction, an NFT project. Now, I don't think we really need to go into all that much detail about what an NFT even is at this point. If you're watching this, you probably already have the general gist of it, and that's all you need to understand for the rest of the video. And if you don't know what an NFT is, well, then I'm very jealous of you, and I don't want to be responsible for saddling you with that knowledge. Click off now and be free. My ad rev be damned. Started by Yuga Labs in 2021, the project consisted of 10,000 tokens of different monkey characters with randomized colors, expressions, clothing, and accessories. No two apes were exactly alike, and not one ape was aesthetically pleasing in the slightest. There is some attempt at lore building though. The apes are all supposed to be millionaires obsessed with partying in the year 2031. And through events and some community growth stuff, Yuga has developed a project to tap into that concept every now and then. but it also kind of conflicts with how holders treat the apes. They're more commonly considered avatars or representations of the person holding them. It doesn't really seem like anyone, even Yuga Labs, takes world building all that seriously though. So this clash doesn't seem to be that much of a problem. The nonchalant nature of the project itself allows for that disconnect. At the time of the Bored Apes release in 2021, crypto was popping off. Everyone was developing their own shitcoin and hyping them up, trying to rug pull anyone dense enough to fall for their scam. This was a whole new, unregulated, incredibly fast-moving speculative market, completely disconnected, at least initially, from traditional Wall Street investors. These were regular people, often more interested in nerd culture and technology than traditional finance. So the scene ended up developing its own culture and sensibilities. People took pride in throwing caution to the wind and taking crazy chances on new projects or by doing their own research on project viability, even if they weren't traditionally financially educated. The term apes started being thrown around, representing the comparative ignorance on traditional investing education and risk assessment compared to the Wall Street elite. It was self-deprecating, but also sort of a point of pride. Yuga Lab decided to use this term and emerging identity in the crypto space as the backbone of their NFT project. In their own explanation, as guys on the outside looking in, as they themselves fell down the crypto rabbit hole, they felt that a lot of otherwise normal people would stumble into massive fortunes by a good bet on a crypto project, but would handle the money totally different from what we perceived as normal millionaire. They just stay online, keep playing video games, still hang around in their community, and just kind of wander around the web looking for what's next. To Yuga, these guys seemed almost bored now that they had won capitalism. And so, the founding concept for the Bored Ape Yacht Club was born. To take this image of success, community, and nonchalance, and make a project mythologizing it. While the framing device may have been unique, the actual implementation of Bored Ape Yacht Club was hardly an original idea. The concept of randomly generating a series of tokens based off template artworks was first popularized in the crypto space 5 years before Bored Ape Yacht Club by another project called CryptoPunks, which essentially did the same thing with tasteless pixel art characters instead of monkeys. Even Yuga Labs, the company name, seems derivative of the company behind CryptoPunks, Larva Labs. It was the same concept though. Generate a limited series of 10,000 randomized tokens with different accessories with different rarities, sell them off, then let the artificial scarcity pump the prices. Bored Apes were only one of a multitude of other projects that popped up in the preceding years that aped this concept. Here's just a handful of projects I could find just by Googling around for a few minutes. You had Lazy Lions, Stoner Cats, Pudgy Penguins, World of Women, Rumble Kong League, Crypto Kitties, Lonely Alien Space Club, Cool Cats, Doge Pound, Moonbirds, Clone X, Axie Infinity, Baka Bears, Worried Meerkats, Cubs, Milady Maker. Creativity at its finest, right? Always thriving in the NFT space. And while a fair amount of these projects gained some initial traction as the bubble around NFTs continued to build throughout 2021, Bored Apes Yacht Club was, and still is, the most prominent among them. Probably the biggest reason for Bored Apes taking off over so many other similar crypto projects were the other aspects of the smart contract attached to the tokens themselves. In addition to some gaudy artwork and bragging rights for wasting so much money on something so trivial, holders of Bored Apes were also granted some additional privileges. It's a yacht club after all, and that was more than just a name. According to Yuga's website for the Bored Ape Yacht Club, holders of the tokens are granted access to the bathroom, which according to the Bored Ape Yacht Club's website is, quote, a canvas accessible only to wallets containing at least one ape. Like any good dive bar bathroom, this is the place to draw, scrawl, or write expletives. We're pretty sure it's gonna be full of dicks, end quote. Holders can create 1 pixel on this digital canvas every 15 minutes, so it seems like it's an exclusive version of Reddit's Our Place. Not sure why this is a compelling value offer, but there you go. You'll also get access to the community's exclusive Discord group, because what online community doesn't have one of those nowadays, right? And the Ape token also functions as a ticket to in-person events, most notably the real-life event Ape Fest. Don't worry, we'll get to that here in a second. The most lucrative benefit, though, was the complete ownership of the commercial rights of the holder's specific ape. Not the IP itself, but the likeness of the specific randomly generated ape character they bought. This allowed anyone holding an ape to create and, more importantly, monetize derivative content based on the characters. This served the holder, as it could be a profitable venture for themselves by creating projects, merch, and entire sub-brands based on their personal apes, as well as increase the prominence of their token and thus increase its value. This also served Yuga Labs by essentially functioning as free advertising for the Bored Ape project as a whole, letting them cast a wider net for the greater brand without any additional investment of their own. This is why we saw so many ape projects launching or at least being announced in 2021 and 2022, such as the already in-depth covered Red Ape family on the channel. Yeah, those videos. I think they're dead, by the way. I think they want me dead, by the way. Now, while those guys did not have any ownership of or involvement with the Bored Ape Yacht Club IP as a whole, they owned the commercial rights to all of the apes they had tokens of, which appeared in the series itself. This is why, for a small amount of time around the summer of 2021, it seemed like the Bored Ape Yacht Club was everywhere. It wasn't Yuga Labs throwing its financial weight around, funding a bunch of projects, or at least not entirely. It was individual holders trying to make a quick buck off the hype bubble by creating derivative projects based on their own apes, independent of one another. This is why Bored Apes was so successful initially. The concept of granting ownership this way created a sort of cultural smokescreen. It incentivized owners to create more stuff based on their apes to maximize their investment. But all that energy made it seem like Yuga and Bored Apes Yacht Club was more influential than they really were, which then turned around and helped their actual brand grow. All in all, a pretty solid grift. While Bored Apes gained notoriety for their eye-watering sale prices, initially they weren't sold by Yuga Labs for nearly as much. Each of the 10,000 apes were sold by Yuga for 0.08 Ethereum, which is the equivalent of $189 at the time of writing, and would have been closer to $150 at the time the project launched in April of 2021. The 6-figure sales came after, because once the initial 10,000 apes were sold, Yuga would never mint more. This is the real club aspect, the exclusivity. You can't have a club without gating it off to the vast majority of the public. And the artificial scarcity of the Bored Apes was how it was done. If you missed the initial sale and wanted in later, you had to buy an ape secondhand. And that desire, in the middle of a burgeoning crypto bubble, meant prices for the initial $150 item went absolutely insane. Seeing all the projects popping up, seeing the hype on social media, helped to drive that hype and FOMO, and subsequently drove prices even higher. Soon, you had celebrities buying in. Bored Apes appearing extremely awkwardly on Jimmy Fallon and a discussion with Paris Hilton. Snoop Dogg and Eminem collaborated together with a Bored Ape music video. Universal Music Group announcing a Bored Ape music group. Even Justin Bieber was in on it. These things were everywhere. And for some reason, all these famous people you've heard of but never think about suddenly thought these dumb JPEGs were cool enough to buy in. With all of this media saturation, the market continued to explode. Everyone was about to get hungry to buy into an opportunity that would fill their appetite on this largely speculative market. I can understand that. I've always been hungry for a delicious deal. Maybe they all should have just come to me. Because with an appetite that large, I could have suggested that they fill their bellies with something tasty. And I'm not talking about takeout. Why bother wasting your money on takeout, or NFTs for that matter? you could be making a smart investment in yourself and your health with Factor. So, what's Factor, you ask? Only your ticket to nutrition nirvana, bro! Delivered right to your doorstep. Picture this: fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals crafted by gourmet chefs, all geared towards helping you feel your absolute best all day long. Now, let me break it down for you. Factor is not just about convenience. It's about revolutionizing the way you think about food. For me, Factor has been a game changer on two crucial fronts: kicking my fast food habit to the curb and saving me some serious dough. Why? With these kinds of savings, I can throw it right back into the bored ape of my dreams. I would not do that. But seriously, take a moment to tally up what you spend on NFTs. I mean food, what you spend on food. Yeah, I'll give you a second. Ouch, right? It's a lot of money. It adds up. Well, brace yourself, because once you crunch those numbers completely, you'll realize not only does Factor offer better nutrition, but it also leaves more cash in your wallet. Folks, it's an absolute win-win. Speed is also a factor. See what I did there? When it comes to preparing meals, and let me tell you, the speed of Factor meals is second to none. Fast food? More like speed yum-yums or quick deliciousness. Nailed it! For someone as busy as I am, having a wholesome meal ready in a flash with Factor is an absolute game changer. I've also been devoting myself to a way healthier lifestyle, and Factor has been committed to helping me achieve my goals with nutritious and purposeful eating. And hey, if you're a streamer or a gamer for that matter, I'm sorry. No, I'm joking. If you are a streamer or a gamer for that matter, Factor has you covered. These meal plans will provide you with the convenience of being able to grab a prepared smoothie, keto shake, or heat and eat a quality meal in just 2 minutes. How's that for a speed run? Am I right, gamers? Are you hooked? Are you hungry for a good deal? Well, grab your knives and forks, because I'm serving you up the tastiest deals of your lives. Head over to Factor75.com or click the link below and use code Saberspark50 to snag up to 50% off your first Factor box and free wellness shots for life. That's right, 2 free wellness shots from 3 available flavors for every order while you're an active subscriber. So what are you waiting for? This ain't no speculative deal, my dudes. Say goodbye to food stress and hello to Factor-fueled goodness. Trust me, your taste buds and your wallet will thank you later. Thanks again to Factor for sponsoring this video. Don't wait, dive in today. On that note, back to the ape-fueled abyss we're about to jump into. God, these apes are ugly. Why are all of these people buying in? Why are the prices shooting up so much? And why would Yuga Labs be okay with prices increasing so much higher than what they initially sold the tokens for in the first place? Well, this is the part where I'm forced to ruin your day if you still don't really know what NFTs are, and you did not listen to my warning to click off earlier. You've been warned, I'm sorry. NFTs are a speculative asset. This means that they are designed to be bought, sold, and essentially, allegedly, gambled on their accuracy and loss of value. Just like the value of a stock can change moment to moment, so can the value of an NFT. Value is determined just like a stock, through the confidence of the public in the asset itself. What makes NFTs even more volatile than traditional stocks is that while stocks are all based around USD, a currency that is, relatively speaking, stable, NFTs are all based on cryptocurrencies, an asset that in and of themselves are also speculative. Most NFTs are based on the Ethereum blockchain. Their sale price, as mentioned earlier, was measured in Ethereum, or Ether. The value of Ethereum can swing just as wildly as the value of the NFTs, which is, again, based on nothing but public confidence. So as the value of Ethereum moves, so does the value of every NFT based on its blockchain. So it's volatility built on volatility. This means that you can massively win, or massively lose, at almost any time. Because they're attached to the blockchain, which is a public ledger that tracks the purchases on it, Bored Apes and all NFTs have built-in prominence. Or in other words, you have a public record of everyone who has ever owned it. Just like real-world assets, sometimes the history of ownership can make an item more valuable than the worth of the item in and of itself. All those apes owned by celebrities? There's proof on the ledger that they owned them at one point. So that prominence of those specific NFTs grant them an additional level of value beyond the artwork and club benefits of the token itself. Finally, the randomized assets attached to each ape aren't entirely random. Some elements are more rare than others. For example, out of the 10,000 tokens, only 43 have gold fur. So if you're, for some reason, into these things, the ones with the hardest to find characteristics inherently have more intrigue than the others that don't. All of these elements come together to make the actual artwork and even the club aspect that was supposedly the point of this project largely incidental. The true value of these apes are their scarcity, their rarity, and their history of ownership. And to a lesser degree, the IP profit potential as those other elements continue to increase the profile of the greater brand. These things exist solely to accrue in value and generate more monopoly money for whoever is holding them. So that begs the question, how does Yuga benefit here? Most NFT marketplaces operate with a royalty system. Every time an NFT is sold or resold, the original creator of the project gets a certain percentage of that sale. For the Bored Ape Yacht Club, this percentage is 2.5%. This is why Yuga sold the tokens low, and in a limited quantity. You get the entire collection out the door as fast as possible, with speculators rushing in to gobble up a potentially valuable asset and rock-bottom prices, then flip them later to other people who want something they can no longer have, or to other speculators confident that the price will only continue to blow up from whatever point they decided to buy in. Each time someone sells a token for a massive profit or a loss, Yuga gets 2.5%, which might sound small, but when each of these 10,000 tokens are being resold for anywhere from the equivalent of $200,000 to $2 million a pop, yeah, you're sitting pretty good at 2.5%. Now, to be fair, people probably should have thought about free stuff a little more critically. On the other hand, this was the official Bored Ape Yacht Club posting about it. On the other hand, this was the equivalent of giving your bank's routing number to someone based on an Instagram post. On the other hand, this entire market is speculative and requires getting in early and primes everyone involved to try and move super fast to dodge FOMO, so make of that as you will. Now, to be fair, it wasn't just other people trying to build out the Bored Apes cinematic universe. Yuga themselves realized they had a gold mine on their hands and tried to expand the property further as well. They released a few companion projects to Bored Ape Yacht Club, such as Bored Ape Kennel Club, essentially a cut-and-paste job of the original project, just with a randomized Shiba Inu dog template instead of a monkey, as well as the Mutant Ape Yacht Club, another 20,000 token collection that had both a public buy-in or could mutate an existing Bored Ape by exposing it to a serum. Half of those tokens were entirely new and available in the initial mint, and the other half were potentially created by the holders of the original 10,000 Bored Apes. The serum was a token airdrop to all holders who could use it to create a mutant ape. This was reasonable. Or as reasonable as one can get in this space. You'd expect Yuga to double down and keep the money printer burring, right? But then they made a video game. And I know what you're thinking. How? Seriously? What is even here to even make a video game? Was it like a weird metaverse thing? Where you take your ape into some janky second-tier Second Life kind of thing and flex your crypto collection? No, you'll never guess what it actually is. Never in a million years. Stop and think. What do you think this game is about? Mull it over. I'll give you a second, you're wrong. It's about pooping. Watching this just absolutely insane announcement trailer for Yuga's first Bored Ape game project, Dookie Dash, is just... I don't even know what to say. It's an actually, seriously, I'm not kidding, exquisitely well-animated trailer of a monkey taking a massive crap. A crap so toxic that it creates a portal through space and time in that toilet. That I guess summons an ape in a suit of armor from the past that gives another ape a locked chest and key, but instead of immediately opening the chest, they just party for a bit? And then the same ape that initially took the radioactive shit accidentally eats the key, then locks himself in the same outhouse and dies trying to shit the key out? But he's trapped in the outhouse now, so all the other apes go into the sewer system to try and get to his corpse so they can pull the key out from his ass? What the hell am I... What the hell am I even saying right now? Am I alive? Is this real life? These people are millionaires. God's not real, mediocrity is a lie, trying is for fools. Moving on. The game is just a glorified endless runner that you play in your browser. Fly through a sewer, collect items, get a high score. The simplest shit possible. But the game itself was never really the point. The point was everything Yuga built around the game. Because this is the crypto market. Nothing can be straightforward, everything is a capitalist scheme. Okay, here we go, I'll try to explain it. Access to Dookie Dash was restricted to anyone that had something called a sewer pass. You couldn't just buy a sewer pass though, at least initially. Owners of Bored Apes and Mutant Apes were airdropped the passes to their wallets at no cost. Certain colors of keys were better than others, as they'd change the multiplier of your score while playing the game. Why would you do that? Wouldn't it break the balance of your game? Of course it would, and that's the point. Because these sewer passes are NFTs themselves, and can be sold to anyone else who might want them. So we have to introduce some scarcity and rarity mechanics here as well. So you have your sewer pass. Why would you want to play this game when Temple Run has existed for 15 years? Because this isn't just a game, it's a contest. Remember that key? The key you're trying to retrieve from a monkey's ass? That key, all right, will also be an NFT. And only one person can have it. It's a one of one, baby. We're running this game for just 3 weeks. And the person with the highest score at the end of those 3 weeks gets the key. So you know exactly what you'd expect to happen would happen. The game, the only actual art part of this whole endeavor, became a completely incidental part of this entire money-making scheme, as passes were sold and resold for thousands of dollars, so people could access this game and try and secure the highest score. But that wasn't enough for Yuga. Oh no, you already paid thousands of dollars to gain access to this stupid fucking game? Yeah, did you? A game that will only exist for a handful of weeks, I remind you? You already have a fucked up tiered pass system that fucks you with the multiplier? Well, the joke's on you. This game is fair and balanced. Have a shitty pass? You can make up for it with in-game purchases. Pay real crypto to keep the game going. Buy your way to the high score. Skill? What's that? Never heard of it. We certainly don't have any ourselves here at Yuga Labs. The game made $450 million. They have to know at this point, right? Like they made a piece of shit game about shit. They're laughing at everyone, right? They have to be. There's no way you don't see this irony. There's no way you don't do this intentionally. Some pro streamer eventually won the contest and got the key. They sold it for $1.6 million. The key eventually opened up the box so you could get a transforming mecha NFT or something from a new collection Yuga launched. And honestly, at this point, I was just so depressed. I had to stop falling down this particular rabbit hole before I just unalive myself in Minecraft, or in Dookie Dash apparently. Now, it wouldn't be a video on an NFT project if we did not talk about scams and theft. Bored Apes have had quite a history with scams in the space in the few years they've been around. The space has become infamous for being a breeding ground for theft. Scams are hardly unique to the Bored Apes Yacht Club community either. OpenSea, the largest marketplace for NFTs as of writing, has stated that 80% of the tokens minted on its platform using its free minting service are fraudulent. Now, while you can't really blame Yuga for these, since the majority of these scams have nothing to do with them, though their frequency really says a lot about the NFT market, there was one instance where the scam very much involved Yuga. Well, I mean besides making these freaking things in the first place, allegedly. In April of 2022, a year after the launch of the project, the official Bored Ape Yacht Club Instagram announced an airdrop. An airdrop is essentially a giveaway of free NFT tokens. Lots of Bored Ape fans try to jump on this opportunity, only to have their crypto wallets drained of tons of their crypto assets, including any apes they had. The Bored Apes official account had been hacked, and the post actually led to a phishing site where the hacker could access the victim's wallet and pull anything they had out of it. Yuga made a statement on Twitter warning people about the scam, but it was too late. The responses to the tweet are filled with people saying they've been robbed. And because of the decentralized, unregulated nature of NFTs and crypto, there was no way to reverse these transactions, and basically no recourse for anyone who got scammed. All in all, the scammer made away with over $1 million in Bored Apes, and a total of $2.4 million in total crypto assets from this single post. Just a month later, Seth Green, famous man and crypto enthusiast, who apparently ended up making his own NFT collection called Pizza Bots, currently collectively worth less than 66 Ethereum compared to Bored Ape's 1.4 million, famously fell for a phishing scam himself, losing over $300,000 worth of NFTs, including his Bored Ape. The thief then sold his ape for $268,000. Because of the lack of regulation in the crypto space, Green's only recourse was to reach out to the FBI, since phishing is technically a crime. Yeah, I'm sure they'll get right on recovering your JPEG. This has all started to come to a head in 2023, as a major lawsuit has hit Yuga Labs for their practices with Bored Ape Yacht Club. A bunch of Bored Ape holders, upset that their NFTs had lost a huge amount of their value, sued the company for deceptive business. Now, I know what you're thinking. All investment is risk, my dude. You are the dumbass who thought an ugly monkey picture was worth 6 figures. You know, the virgin NFT holder, the Chad right-click save as. However, it's a little bit more complicated than that. This case is still ongoing, but there might be a bit more legitimacy to this claim than first appears. Back in 2021, there was a massive auction hosted by Sotheby's auction house in partnership with Yuga Labs called Ape N, where they auctioned off a bunch of NFTs. Reportedly, a collection of 101 Bored Ape NFTs were sold for a staggering $24.4 million. Since this was so early into the existence of the project, it was largely this sale, made from a regular but anonymous investor, that spurred a lot of speculation and growth of the entire Bored Ape brand in the first place. This was the inciting incident. A major auction house having a client outside the normal crypto bubble making a huge investment like this was a signal that this project had value to the general public. Yeah, about that. Sotheby's had claimed that this anonymous buyer was a, quote, traditional collector, aka just a normal person and usual type of client. However, it has since come out that the buyer was not an individual, but a company. A company called FTX. Yes, that FTX. FTX is a crypto company, so making moves like this to bolster the perceived value of NFTs and the crypto powering it is already a shady move, especially while trying to be anonymous about it. It gets even shadier when you realize that FTX was one of the largest investors in Yuga Labs, giving them $450 million in the company's first seed round. So by blowing up the image of Bored Ape Yacht Club, they stood to benefit just as much as Yuga did. Combine that with it coming out that a lot of those bizarre celebrity purchases of Bored Apes were actually undisclosed paid endorsements? Yeah, business connections Yuga purposely tried to hide? Shocker. All the hype around these worthless tokens was bullshit. The lawsuit is still going on, so it's possible they'll still get away with everything. But crypto has taken a legal beating this year, so Yuga may end up hurting pretty bad from this. Bored Ape Yacht Club, despite their massive falling off this year, is still alive, stumbling around in a blind stupor. And that statement is a bit more literal than you may think. Let's talk about Ape Fest. Ape Fest is a convention for Bored Ape holders. This is where the ape as a ticket comes into play, since you can only attend if you own a Bored Ape or Mutant Ape NFT. There have been 3 Ape Fests, one each year since the inception of the project. The first 2 were held in New York during the NFT NYC conference, while the latest one was in Hong Kong. From the coverage of the events from the press, it seems that most of the attendees interviewed are pretty hardcore into apes. It comes off like they're all deep in the rabbit hole, having merch of their apes, wearing outfits similar to their apes, full-on cosplaying the apes themselves. Pretty typical fanfare stuff for a convention. Now, it's pretty cringe from the outside looking in, but that can probably be said for any convention. I suppose the difference is the framing device of it all. Most nerd conventions are a celebration of fandom in some way, and all it takes is the willingness to embarrass yourself for a weekend and maybe a few $100 for a hotel and a ticket. The exclusive nature of Ape Fest, being hinged on owning a commodity that, at least for the first 2 events, were at the point of 6-figure buy-ins, meant that the vibe, even just from what I could pick up from reading about it, was different. There's tons of tweets online of people dunking on these guys for being at Ape Fest. From being annoying in public, some cringy video of low-effort concert performances, and exorbitant prices for exclusive Bored Ape merch that people would be rocking in public. But for as much as I condemn this entire scene, I can't bring myself to dunk on these guys too hard for enjoying their community. The fact that they were buying basic screen-printed hoodies with the Bored Ape logo on them for $800 though? Yeah, less defendable. The reason you've probably even heard of Ape Fest though, is for what happened at the 2023 event in Hong Kong. Footage from the event showed a fair amount of UV and black lights being used. And after the first night of the event, attendees reported burning in their eyes, with some needing to be hospitalized. Apparently, the UV lights used at the event were causing photokeratitis, or snow blindness, in the attendees. People looking over the footage on Twitter speculated that the lights used for the event may have been overstocked medical disinfectant lights, as some people said the installed lights looked similar to those they'd seen before, but this was never confirmed. Yuga commented on Twitter saying that less than 1% of attendees were affected, but still, not a good look. 2023 was not a good year for Bored Ape Yacht Club in general though. As I said earlier, NFTs are volatility built on top of volatility. So anything that affects the blockchains that the NFTs are based on will trickle down and disrupt their value as well. And 2023 dealt a massive blow to the confidence and legitimacy of crypto. At this point, with FTX dead and a lawsuit brimming, the floor price for the Bored Apes are down over 88% from their peak valuation back in April of 2022. The thing is though, this stuff will never truly die. Kind of can't. This is a market driven entirely by faith. And what has more unshakable faith than a cult? The reason Bored Apes are still worth $50,000 plus, even after everything that happened, including the implosion of both FTX and Binance, is because while the general public has seen the industry for the Bernie Madoff tier scam for what it is, you can't truly shake the faith of the devout. The reason you still get spam tweets in your mentions about airdrops, the reason crypto ads still pop up from time to time, the reason this space still exists at all is because these people have FOMO'd so hard there's no way out. To them, it is a sunk cost fallacy. And as long as there's still a group of believers, there will always be some value, because that's all you need for a speculative market. That's all any of them have ever been. But it will never become what the cult keeping it on life support still blindly believes it's destined to become. NFTs and crypto seemed all but inevitable throughout 2021 and 2022, as more and more celebrities and rich smooth brains poured millions of dollars and immeasurable amounts of hype into the stuff. But no amount of hype can sustain a cultural movement, artificially generated or not, without crossing that threshold beyond early adopters and reaching mass appeal. NFTs and crypto as a whole were never able to really get there, at least not at the time of this writing. Now, maybe it will change in the future, but for now, the promises of crypto being a libertarian utopia that unseats corrupt banking institutions from positions of power have largely been unfulfilled, and instead have become a festering ground for scams. The buy-in on most of these projects remain way too high for the average person to want to risk, and the technology for interfacing with them is still too complicated for the average user to bother learning. Like, good luck explaining how to set up MetaMask wallet to your aunt, and the raw utility just isn't there. For all the talk about the power and potential of smart contracts, NFTs really seem like a solution in search of a problem. The most pragmatic utilities are only marginally different, and arguably no better than, if not worse, than recreating the same systems with existing technology and infrastructures. Crypto made big promises, but delivered nothing that any normal person could understand or benefit from. And as a result, Bored Apes and NFTs in general seem pretty much entirely dead in the water, outside of a small group of smooth-brained nerds with a cultist sensibility. But the biggest reason for the space's demise is probably something more sinister. It's because the grifters found a better grift. AI has pretty much taken the place of NFTs in the cultural zeitgeist. But unfortunately for the rest of us, AI is a much better grift because it has a more obvious use case for normal people. It's also easier to understand, or at least at a conceptual level, and probably most importantly, it is far simpler to feign competence. At the end of the day, AI is all about one central concept, a concept as old as time: good old-fashioned theft. Whether it's Stable Diffusion and Midjourney for images, or ChatGPT and Bard for text, all these AI models are entirely based on scrapping the internet of all its content, cataloging it, then regurgitating it on command. By stealing from competent people, AI is granted the veneer of competency itself, even if it still messes up too frequently to be blindly trusted. But as time has gone on, this has been continually cleaned up to where we are now, where it's quickly approaching good enough that most people won't even notice or care about the edge cases. AI art is a better grift than NFTs ever were, because the weak link of that tech was untalented scam artists trying to sell you trash. AI art, though, lets those same scammers mask their garbage with an amalgamated chimera of the collective internet's creativity. If you want to see what these caliber of people would be capable of, producing solely on their own merits, look no further than the graveyard of dead NFT projects. AI gives these people the absolute lowest rungs of humanity, what they always needed, and they never had with the NFT market: the illusion of talent. And while NFTs got the attention of B-tier celebrities to fall for the bait, AI has way more backing from a much more important subset of the worst humanity has to offer: tech companies. Whether it's Google, Microsoft, or Nvidia, all the major tech players have decided to hitch their wagons to an AI-dominated future. The foundation around AI becoming inescapable happened seemingly in the span of a few months. It has been barely over a year since ChatGPT first arrived, and it feels like AI is already everywhere. It's in your browser, it's all over your timeline, it'll soon be baked directly into your operating system. Hell, it's already in Windows 11. ChatGPT became a simple-to-understand use case for this technology everyone was easily able to wrap their heads around by living in your web browser, a technology everyone already uses, and using a simple messaging interface, a UI paradigm everyone already understands. Its rollout was the polar opposite of NFTs in terms of facilitating mass adoption, and the proof is in the pudding. ChatGPT became the fastest adopted product in recorded history, and the tech industry took notice. NFTs and the metaverse were the inevitable future, until they weren't. Now, AI is the inevitable future. I mean, who knows what the inevitable future will be next? I think it's really easy to look at people roped into Bored Apes and call them stupid. I mean, I did at the time, and I still do. Like, I'm pretty sure I've done it a few times in this script, but I'm too lazy to Control-F to check. However, I think that attitude, however tempting, kind of dismisses what the draw of these kinds of things for most people who get suckered into it really are. It's something that we all want, and we're all constantly searching for, even if we aren't aware of it. A sense of community. This is the Bored Ape Yacht Club, after all. Even the founders of Yuga say in an interview on the YouTube channel Input that they got into crypto in the first place because of the community aspect surrounding the space. Now, it's not the community I would pick, but that's what we all want at the end of the day. We're all social animals at our core. I guess you could say we're still apes in that sense. To anyone who may have been burned by crypto and NFT grifts, or are still desperately holding on with diamond hands, I implore you to take a step back and realize that a sense of community does not have to come with a massive financial buy-in and all this risk. There are tons of hobbies and communities out there that are built on a shared love for something. You can make connections like that. You can get all of that good that was promised from the NFT bubble with a lot less rug pulling and awkward conversations with your spouse about where your kid's college fund went. Unless you were here for the rug pulling and profit min-maxing from the start. In which case, hey, you probably already moved on to AI stuff anyways. In which case, you've probably already moved on with your next AI grift. I guess Ape Together Strong wasn't the case.